generalized Fato's lemma. Generalized Fato's lemma. The statement is, let x comma script b be a measurable space and mu n be a sequence of measures that converge setwise to a measure mu on script b. Let Fn be a sequence of non-negative measurable functions that converge pointwise to a limit function f on x, then integral over x f d mu is less than or equal to limit inferior of integral over x f and d mu. So what we have to prove? What is the given? Let x comma script b be a measurable space and mu n be a sequence of measure that converts setwise to a measure mu on E. Already I have given a definition of converge. This sequence is said to be converge to a set function mu on script b if for each and every element of script b this sequence converges to mu. That is, the sequence mu n of E converges to mu of E for all E belongs to script B. Let Fn be a sequence of non-negative measurable functions that converge pointwise to a function f on x. Then we have to prove this condition. Proof. First note that if phi is a simple function, then phi can be written as, by the canonical representation, this one can be written as summation I is equal to 1 to n ai xi ei. This is I wrote by using the canonical representation of a simple function. Then by the definition of integral of a simple function can be written as integral over x phi d mu can be written as summation I is equal to 1 to n ai measure of x intersection ei, from the definition of integral of a simple function. This one can be written as summation I is equal to 1 to n ai measure of x intersection ei is ei. Why? Since ei is a subset of x. In the statement clearly given that the sequence mu n is a sequence of measures that converge setwise to mu, then this mu can be written as I is equal to 1 to n ai. This one I can write as limit mu n of ei. Why? Since mu n converges to mu setwise. In the statement clearly given that mu n converges to mu. Therefore, limit of mu n is nothing but mu. This one I can write as limit n tends to infinity summation I is equal to 1 to n ai mu n of ei. Just I wrote the limit outside of the summation. Again, from the definition, this one can be written as limit n tends to infinity integral over x phi d mu n, integral over x phi d mu. Let us take this one as equation number 1. Since integral over x f d mu can be written as, since f is a non-negative measurable function, then integral of a non-negative measurable function can be written as supremum over all those simple functions 0 less than or equal to phi less than or equal to f, where phi is a simple function. Integral over x phi d mu, phi d mu. Now to prove this is less than or equal to the limit inferior of, now I have to prove that this one is less than or equal to this one. Instead of proving this one, I will prove that this one is nothing but this one is less than or equal to the limit inferior. If I can show that for all the simple functions this one is less than, therefore the supremum is less than of that element. If supremum is less than, therefore this one will be less than. So here I can write that to prove the theorem, it is sufficient to prove, it is sufficient to prove, it is sufficient to prove integral over x phi d mu is less than or equal to limit inferior of integral over x fn d mu n for all n as well as for all simple functions phi such that 0 less than or equal to phi less than or equal to f. If for all the simple functions this one side is phi, therefore for all the simple functions phi is less than or equal to limit inferior, then its supremum is also less than this one. What is the supremum of this one? Is nothing but integral over x f d mu. Then our proof will be completed. So suppose integral over x phi d mu is finite. Since integral over x phi d mu is finite, this implies that I can say phi is bounded and must vanish outside a set of finite measure, outside a set of finite measure. Therefore, since phi is bounded, there exists a constant capital M such that phi of x is less than or equal to m for all x belongs to capital X. I am not using here modulus because phi is a non-negative. If I use modulus, again I will get the same thing. Let 0 less than epsilon less than 1. Now I am going to define a sequence En of sets as En is nothing but all those elements of capital X such that fk of x is greater than or equal to 1 minus epsilon into phi of x for all k greater than or equal to n. For all k greater than or equal to. How I defined a set? All those elements of capital X such that which satisfy this condition where k is greater than or equal to n. We already know that fk is nothing but already given in the statement that there is a sequence of non-negative measurable function. This is one of the term of the measurable function. Note that if I change the n values, n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, I will get that E1 is contained in E2, E2 is contained in E3, so on. This is contained in En, En is contained in En plus 1, which is contained in so on. These all are the subsets of E. Then this one can be written as, hence we get E minus E1 is containing E minus E2, containing E minus E3, containing so on, containing E minus En, containing E minus En plus 1, containing so on, containing so on. Let us take this one as equation number 2. Therefore, what we got? Therefore, E minus En is a decreasing sequence of sets with measure of E minus E1, that is measure of the superior set E minus E1. From the monotonicity I can write this one is less than measure of E. Measure of E clearly given in the statement, which is finite. Therefore, by a known result we have proved already, by a known result, what we got? E minus En is a decreasing sequence of sets with measure of E minus E1 is finite. Therefore, measure of intersection n is equal to 1 to infinity E minus En is equal to limit n tends to infinity measure of E minus En. Already we have proved this one. Equation number. Clearly, this intersection n is equal to 1 to infinity E minus En is empty. How I am saying this is empty? Let us discuss here. Let us take any element belongs to the intersection E minus En. Since x belongs to the intersection means x belongs to all the sets. X belongs to E minus En for all n. X belongs to E minus En means x belongs to E and x does not belongs to En for all n. For all n. Since x does not belongs to En, already we have defined what is En. Here, equation number, we did not denoted anything here. En is nothing but this one. If any x belongs to En, then it satisfies this one. If x does not belongs to this one, means it is not satisfying this condition, that is here fk of x is less than 1 minus epsilon into phi of x for all those k greater than or equal to n. Now I am going to take limit on both sides with respect to k. So what you will get here? Limit fk of x is less than, since there is no k here, I will get the same thing. In the statement clearly given that the sequence Fn converges to F. So here this implies f of x is less than 1 minus epsilon into phi of x. Since we know that 1 minus epsilon is less than 1, this one I can write less than phi of x. Therefore, phi of x is less than, f of x is less than phi of x, which is a contradiction. A contradiction. Since 0 less than or equal to phi, phi is less than or equal to f, but f can't be less than phi. Therefore, no element belongs to the intersection. Therefore, the intersection will be empty. Then equation number 3 implies what you will get? Limit n tends to infinity, mu of E minus En is equal to mu of empty. Mu of empty. Measure of a empty set is 0. Now I am going to use the definition of a limit of a sequence, that is, for each epsilon greater than 0 there exists a natural number m such that measure of modulus of this one minus this one, measure of E minus En minus 0, again you will get the same thing. I am also not using the modulus because we know that measure is always a non-negative, less than epsilon for all those n greater than or equal to m. Let us take this one as equation number 4. Equation number 4 means if I take any small n greater than or equal to m, it will satisfy this condition. So in particularly I am going to take taking n is equal to m. If I take n is equal to m, then also it will satisfy. We get mu of E minus Em is also less than epsilon. In the statement clearly given that mu n converges to mu setwise. This is the mu. Therefore, from the statement I can write that, from the statement clearly I can write that this implies limit k tends to infinity, mu k of E minus Em is less than epsilon. Since in the statement clearly given that mu k converges to mu setwise. Now again I am using the definition, that is, for each epsilon greater than 0 there exists small n naught which is such that mu k of E minus Em is less than epsilon for all those k greater than or equal to n naught. Equation number 5. Therefore, k greater than n naught and n naught is greater than m. This implies k is greater than m. If k is greater than m, this implies E minus Ek and E minus Em. From equation number 2, already we have discussed the equation number 2. This is the equation number 2. Those terms which are coming later are containing in the earlier one. Here k is coming later, then this one will containing E minus Em. Then by the monotonicity I can use mu k of E minus Ek is less than or equal to mu k of E minus Em. Equation number 6. I used here by monotonicity of mu k. Now, for all k greater than or equal to n naught, consider integral over x fk d mu k. Since x is a superset, then this one will get greater than or equal to integral over ek fk d mu k. Why? Since ek is a subset of x, then integral over the subset is greater than or equal to integral over the subset. Now, on ek fk of x is greater than or equal to this one. So here this one is greater than or equal to 1 minus epsilon into integral over ek phi of x d mu k. How I am writing here? Since f k of x is greater than or equal to 1 minus epsilon into phi of x for all x belongs to ek. From this is the reason. If x belongs to ek, then f k of x is greater than or equal to this one. Since e minus ek union ek is equal to e. E minus ek union ek is e, and if I take the intersection, you will get this one as empty, this one as empty. Then only ek can be written as, for example, this is e and this is ek, then this is e minus ek. Therefore, from e, if I remove this e minus ek, I will get ek. So here I can write that ek can be written as e minus ek. So here this ek I am going to write as, which is equal to 1 minus epsilon into integral over e phi d mu k minus 1 minus epsilon into integral over e minus ek phi d mu k. E minus ek I wrote. Now, since 1 minus epsilon is less than 1, so here again I am going to multiply minus on both sides. If I multiply minus on both sides, minus of 1 minus epsilon is greater than minus 1. So here minus of 1 minus epsilon can be written as strictly greater than 1 minus epsilon into integral over e phi d mu k minus integral over e minus ek phi d mu k. In the statement already we have wrote, since phi is bounded, means there exists a capital N such that phi is less than or equal to capital M. Now if I multiply minus on both sides, we will get minus phi is greater than or equal to minus capital M. So here minus phi will be greater than or equal to 1 minus epsilon integral over e phi d mu k minus capital M integral over e minus ek d mu k. Therefore, which is nothing but 1 minus epsilon into integral over e phi d mu k minus capital M into measure of mu k of e minus ek. From equation number 4, we know that this one is strictly greater than 1 minus epsilon into integral over e phi d mu k minus m epsilon by equation number 4. Therefore, integral over x f k d mu k is greater than 1 minus epsilon into integral over e phi d mu k minus capital M epsilon. Now I am going to take limits on both sides. So here, therefore limit k tends to infinity, limit inferior of integral over x f k d mu k is greater than 1 minus epsilon into limit k tends to infinity integral over e phi d mu k minus m epsilon m epsilon. Limit k tends to infinity, mu k is nothing but mu. 1 minus epsilon into integral over e phi d mu minus m epsilon. Since mu k converges to mu setwise, mu k converges to mu setwise. Now this one can be written as, which is equal to integral over e phi d mu minus epsilon into integral over e phi d mu plus capital M. Just I wrote integral over e phi d mu minus epsilon into this one. I took minus epsilon common here. I got this one. Since 0 less than epsilon less than 1 is arbitrary, I can take very small. If epsilon is very small, then if I take epsilon very small, then this value get increases and goes to this value. We get integral over e phi d mu is finite and integral over e phi d mu is less than or equal to limit n tends to k tends to infinity, limit inferior of integral over x f k d mu k. This one only we have to prove, which completes the theorem. Similarly, we can prove if integral over e phi d mu is equal to 0.